my final 24 to 25 Premier League predictions. Make sure to subscribe because we're doing a face reveal at 1k subscribers. In 20th, I put Leicester. I think it's inevitable because they lost Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall, their best player in the Championship last season. They also lost Enzo Maresca, and they're also waiting for a point deduction. However, they do have Steve Cooper in charge, who is quite a Premier League experienced manager, so I'm excited to see what they can do. In 19th, I put Southampton. Russell Martin is a good manager, but I feel like there's not enough quality in their squad to stay up this season. With the Premier League experience that they have, I wouldn't be surprised if they proved me wrong. The final team I'm putting to go down is Nottingham Forest. They do have some really good talent in their squad, but I feel like Nuno as a manager is really holding them back, and it's going to lead to their downfall. Staying up in 17th, I've got Ipswich. They've made some really smart signings like Muric, Calvin Phillips and Ben Johnson. Kieran McKenna is going to do his job and keep Ipswich up. In 16th, it's Brentford, purely because I don't think any other team is going to finish here. They managed to keep Ivan Toney, which is a bonus, but every season at some point they look a little bit shaky. 15th, I went with Bournemouth. They created a lot of goals last season, but a lot of them came from Dominic Solanke. But without Solanke, I don't see where the goals come from. Iraola is such a progressive manager, and he looked like he was taking Bournemouth somewhere last season. They are looking to go all out in a striker, but I don't think they'll fill Solanke's shoes. 14th place, I put Wolves. They lost their star man as well with Pedro Neto. It's a shame because I really rated Wolves with Gary O'Neill last season, but I don't think they're going places without Pedro Neto. 13th, we have Fulham. Whilst they have made a few signings, one of them being Emil Smith-Rowe, who I think will be great for them. They did lose Paulinia, Tim Ream and Tosin Adarabioyo. 12th place Everton. I like where it's heading with Sean Dyche at the wheel. Last season at Goodison Park, although they lost Amadou Onana, I think they've done enough in this transfer window to replace him. 11th Brighton. They've done some really efficient business this window, but it's a huge risk putting Fabian Hürzeler in charge. I think it will take a while for Fabian Hürzeler to adapt to the squad. Shocker, 10th place West Ham. They've had a phenomenal transfer window. However, I feel Julian Lopetegui, from what we saw from his time at Wolves, isn't the man for the job. Countless times West Ham have signed big names like Pablo Fornals, Sebastian Haller and Felipe Anderson. It's much more than the players in order to succeed. Although in 9th, I've gone with my team, Crystal Palace. We've already signed Chadi Riyad, Ismaili Assar and Daichi Kamada. And Palace aren't stopping there because they look very active in the transfer window. Losing Elise, though, isn't a problem. We've replaced them well and kept Eze and Mateta. Oliver Glasner also just told me that we're going to keep our unbeaten streak. 8th, Aston Villa. Despite having a great transfer window, the weight of Champions League football will be too much and will cause them to have a lot of injuries. 7th place, Man United. They've had a pretty good transfer window, signing the likes of De Ligt and Xerxes, as well as injured Lenny Euro and many more players. But there's something just in the state of this club, and I think it's too competitive at the top of the table. 6th place Chelsea. Of course they've been active in the transfer window like they always are. Cole Palmer will carry them again, and Enzo Maresca will take a while to adapt to the squad that he has to work with. 5th place Newcastle. They could be a real threat if they keep their players from injuries, especially with Isak and Gordon leading the front line, but I think the next step for this club will be to sack Eddie Howe at some point. He's a great manager, but with the money they have, they need a world-class manager. 4th place, Tottenham Hotspur. With new additions like Solanke and Archie Gray and Ange at the wheel, they look really dangerous, especially with the amount of unlimited options that they have in attack. 3rd place, Liverpool. I put them here because there isn't much competition in this spot. It's a huge step up for Arne Slot, and I don't think he'll properly fill the shoes of Jurgen Klopp. 2nd place Arsenal, and it's going to stay this way until they sign a really good striker, I'm afraid. Which means in 1st place again, it's Manchester City. They're not going to suffer with their 115 charges. Instead, they're going to pay their way out like they always do because the Premier League loves them.